we ever ended in an
No,
optimistic time frame.
Nope. Shut up. Go.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to the card valuation for Witchwood, for Paladin, for the Lightforge. We are the Grinning Goat. I am Adwukta.
I'm Merps. Okay, so we are talking about Paladin. And just as I did for the other classes, let's examine what Paladin is losing. Paladins are losing very little. Like, all right, like if you saw the previous video with the Hunter in which I listed every one of their good cards and how they're losing, like, you know, their entire game plan in the early game, Paladins are losing very little in comparison to all the other classes. Now, let's dig a little bit deeper. Like, let's see exactly what they're losing. In terms of just sheer power, yes, you know, they're losing Rallying Blade. They're losing, like, Grime Street Protector. I would say those are, like, two of the best cards that they're losing, right? And they are losing two sort of archetypes. So they're losing sort of Dude Paladin synergy because they're losing Steward of Darkshire and Stand Against Darkness. Now, what this means is because they're losing these two cards, there are still cards in the meta, in the arena, that support sort of Silverhand recruit sort of style decks, right? And it just gets weaker because you are missing Steward of Darkshire and you're missing Stand Against Darkness. So that archetype takes a hit. It's not completely dead like Beast Druid, just because you can still create 1/1s with your hero power, so that'll always be kind of a thing, but it's significantly less powerful. And you're also going to be missing hand buffs. Hand buffs are pretty much dead. You know, the Smuggler's Run is rotating out. Grime Street Outfitter is rotating out. Grime Street Enforcer is rotating out. Basically, everything that they gained, this whole dynamic of buffing the hand in MSG, that's rotating out. But if you look at the powerful cards that Paladin is losing, you know, it's all relative, right? So yes, they are like losing Grime Street Protector, losing Rallying Blade, losing you know, some of these like pretty good cards like Smuggler's Run. Related, like, you know, in relation to all the other classes, they're not losing a lot. So what that means is not only are they losing things that aren't too powerful, but what's replacing them is more Steeds, right? More Vine Cleavers. The rest of their cards, which are really, really, really good, that is replacing these cards, which sometimes are really good, but a lot of times are like very mediocre. So Paladin is something that has potential to be very powerful.
And it's about to be very powerful because of one particular card. So I want to start with a note in case you're looking at this tier list and you're like, Hydrologist is the best card. That's a known bug in this version.
That's a bug.
It's not. This is a test server, and that has not. It's already fixed. It just hasn't updated for this. Hydrologist is not like going up dramatically or anything like that.
Yep.
All right. So the card that is going to make Paladin, and again, we look at, it's a Lightforge tier list, right? If you don't know by now, 100 is always centered. That's always the average card if all cards are offered evenly. And 0 is an absolute 0. It means the card does nothing. So a 180, like a Silver Sword, means it's almost 2 entire cards for the price of 1. That's insane. It doesn't usually, like, we've made a big deal every time a card goes over 150, but up to now, Silver Sword, this is the best card that we have reviewed so far in Witchwood. That's not a legendary. Like, we made such a big deal out of the Hunter legendary, right? About the Houndmaster. Oh, I forget his name. I should probably remember his name.
Houndmaster Shaw?
Yeah, Houndmaster Shaw. He was only a 200. So this is a 180. This is almost Houndmaster Shaw level. Silver Sword, 3/4. That's 4 charges. After your hero attacks, give your minions +1/+1. So the first turn, who knows how many minions you can get on there, but starting the second turn after you equip this sword, you can play 9-10 mana's worth of minions, and all of them gets +1/+1.
All of them get +1/+1 as well. So here, once again, when you do an evaluation like this, because I see this comment in the chat, and one of the things I see is like, if you have no board, this card is terrible. And I agree. If you have no board at all, Silver Sword is terrible. Just like if you are extremely low in health, Vine Cleaver is terrible. just like if you are winning, Deathwing is trash tier. We can come up with all of these situations. I can name any situation that makes any super premium card completely trash tier, right? If you're 5 health, Vine Cleaver is completely trash tier, like just like really bad, right? Because you're not doing anything, you're just equipping a weapon. If you're winning on the board, yeah, like Deathwing sucks. It doesn't do anything. You have to think about, on average, like what happens with the Silver Sword. And how good something, for example, like a Stormwind Champion is already for Paladin, right? Yes, this costs 1 more than Stormwind Champion, but you have the initiative with the weapon, and it persists, right? It keeps on being able to buff your entire board, and it's one of those things where like you get this off, and then the next turn you buff them by +1/+1 as well, and then it just makes everything a little bit harder to remove.
The thing people aren't getting is that after you play this, the turn after that, and the turn after that, all of your minions that you play from your hand get +1/+1. All of the minions that remain on the board get +1/+1. All of this stacks if any of them live more than 1 turn. And on top of all of that, you are dealing 3 damage every turn. This is 8 mana. Like, it literally takes 2 turns to get all of your tempo back, even if you start with a board of 0 minions. You start with a board of 0 minions, you play a Silver Sword, you're down 5 tempo, right? That's not that good. Next turn, all you have to do is play 2 minions, and you have caught up on tempo. Compared to the worst possible condition for Silver Sword that does not involve you not having enough health, in which case any weapon would suck. That's 2 turns. The turn afterwards, on a very horrible like assumption that you only have 1 minion and a hero power, you have already recovered your tempo. So for people who are like, oh, this is a win more card, it is a win more card, but it's also a very high floor card, where if you're not winning, if you're like doing poorly even, it's still really good. Because what's happening on the 3rd turn is not like, oh, this card is over, it got its value in the 2 turns, and it's bad case scenario. Whew, you know, could have been bad. It's, well, we still have 2 more charges. And the next turn, you get a free 5, 6, 7 tempo. And the turn after that, you get another 5, 6, 7 tempo. So what you've effectively done is doubled your tempo over the course of 4 turns from the worst possible state.
Right. So if you look at, for example, and I think this was one of the criticisms that people threw at Vine Cleaver, right? Because if you look at, it's easy to say with Silver Sword, it's like, okay, well, it's not going to give that much. It's like, it's just +1/+1, and it's on turn 8, and you only get 3 damage. Well, I can say with Vine Cleaver, all you are doing on turn 7 is dealing 4 damage, right? All you're doing, and you are spawning 2 1/1s, but those don't have initiative. Vine Cleaver sounds even worse, right? Because you don't even give the +1/+1. It's with Paladin, and especially for all of the classes, I think it's easy to just saying like, that's not what I should be getting on this turn for that mana. And then immediately being like, okay, so that means it's bad. And yes, you know, we definitely stress.
And, you know, let's not compare this with Vine Cleaver. Vine Cleaver's better. We have it like 27 points higher.
But like the criticism, you know, it's easy to sort of
like, okay, like if you're comparing this card to Vine Cleaver and you're like, Vine Cleaver is definitely better than this card, congratulations, you've made a pointless statement.
Yeah,
Vine Cleaver is better than almost every card.
But I will say, like, the same criticism I'm seeing for Silver Sword, I saw it with Vine Cleaver.
Yeah, oh yeah, I mean, Vine Cleaver, we started out insanely high, and, you know, higher than anyone else, and we were right. We raised it, I think, at some point, too.
We raised it, because it's just that insane. But once again, like, if you want to distill Vine Cleaver, on the turn in which you play it, it's 7 mana for 4 damage, and it's not doing like.
No. I still count it as 7 mana for 6 tempo. Silver Sword would be 8 mana for 3 tempo. It's a tempo like downgrade. And if you look at Vine Cleaver,
I mean, if you have minions, like you still give it the +1/+1, and for the initiative,
I mean, if you don't have minions, right? Because no one's gonna argue this is a bad card if you have minions on the board,
right? Yeah.
And one more point I want to make is that your Paladin, you have minions on the board. If you don't, you probably lost already, and nothing's going to get you back from that. Not even a Vine Cleaver.
This is another sort of thing about the criticism that I keep on hearing. It's like, oh, haven't you considered this really bad state that you're in? It's like, okay, if you're in a bad state, name me the cards that'll get you back. Right? It's like, well, what if you're losing heavily? This doesn't get you back. It's like, okay, name me all the cards that get you back when you are losing heavily, for example.
In Paladin, no one. Nothing.
Like, nothing.
You need an Equality Consecration combo.
Yeah.
Which is 2 cards.
Anyways, that's where we're at with Silver Sword. And this is one I want to spend some time with because I anticipated like a lot of people.
And we're very confident with this one.
Yeah.
Like, this is super, super premium.
Yep. All right, so Silver Sword, you probably should see it a decent amount.
The interesting part, though, is that if Blizzard really thinks this card is that good too, and they put it in the same bucket as Vine Cleaver, like, don't take it over Vine Cleaver, right?
Right.
Like,
Vine Cleaver.
The idea is not that we rate a card 27 points lower than Vine Cleaver, and we talk about how good it is, and that means you should take it over Vine Cleaver. No, it's 27 points lower than Vine Cleaver for a reason. Don't take it. But if it's in the bucket below that, well, now you've got a very good option, I think.
Agreed.
So,
agreed.
Yeah, it depends on the bucket, but anything besides the highest bucket is good for it. And the only reason why the highest bucket is not good for it is because it's Vine Cleaver. I don't know what to tell you.
Yep.
Okay, so that's Silver Sword. I was ready to move on. I was ready to move on to Priest after this, because I'm like, we're done. We went over Silver Sword. It's a rare. It's a weapon. You're going to see it everywhere. Like, it's over. Like, Paladins win. But no, Paladins have other great cards.
Yeah. All right, so let's keep on going. The next card is a 122, and it's Ghostly Charger. 5 mana, 3/4 beast. I don't know why it's a beast. Or it had to be a beast. I understand horses are beasts. Okay, I understand that. But I don't understand why it had to be a beast. Anyways, Divine Shield and Rush. Just a good minion, you know? Like, look, we've already seen something like a Cyclotron, which Divine Shield and Taunt, and that's been, like, you know, pretty decent. And this thing has initiative. Like, you get to charge it out. It's just
compared to Argent Commander, which we rate extremely high. Argent Commander is a 130, which is higher than this guy, and that's because for 6 mana, you get one more mana, you get 1 extra damage of initiative, right?
Which the ratio works out.
The ratio works out very well.
Yeah.
And the benefit of this over Argent Commander is that the ratio is not as good, and you can't go face, but you do have more health on your remaining body. So it's in the same like category in our opinion about how good the card is and how you use it. It's not a hard card to use. Like, no. Just a solid, very good minion.
Okay.
Another solid, very good minion, Paragon of Light, 3 mana, 2/5. Very, good 3-drop stat line, and especially on Paladin, we just want things to stick on the board, so you can buff it. And then look what happens if you do buff it. It all of a sudden gets lifesteal and taunt. Like, it's made for it. It's made for its purpose. Its purpose is very clear. It says Blessing of Kings me. It says Steed me. It says, dude, I guess Steed already has taunt, but still, the idea is the same. You put it down, it's hard to remove, it's efficient tempo-wise for that, and then you buff it. And even if you don't buff it, it still does its job.
Yep. Right, so this card, this is one of those cards in which, like any card with sort of the stats that you should get plus upside, it's always just going to be good, right? And this, it's not exactly the distribution that you love.
You do with your Paladin.
Especially
on turn 3.
Right. And with this, like, you are able to buff this pretty easily because you have a lot of buffs, right? And with lifesteal, it just makes the opponent, like, really annoyed at you. Like, when you're able to lifesteal as well with a Paladin, and now all of your weapons that you draft, they're going to be even more effective because you're able to gain that health. Okay. Next card. Where is this next card?
The next card is a Bellringer Sentry. It is a 91, 4 mana, 3/4. Battlecry and Death Rattle. Pull a secret from your deck into the battlefield. So, one interesting thing that's happened in 10.4 is that you see more Paladin secrets in people's decks because the secrets are low win rate, and so they're actually pretty good for the buckets that they get put in. And so you see secrets a lot. And especially when you're in a meta for Paladin, where it's usually okay to just hero power on turn 2, it means 1 mana cards are a lot better than 2 mana cards, and it frees up a lot of spots. So in this whole new drafting system, you get a number of secrets in your deck, whereas before you saw probably less than 1 Paladin secret per deck. Now you see a little more than 1. And, the new Paladin secret isn't good, and you're not going to take it, and we'll look at it later. But it still means that you're probably going to be able to trigger this battle cry more often than not, and sometimes maybe even the death rattle depending on your deck. So it's a very deck-dependent card. Like, if you have 2 secrets, it's good. It's, like, probably better than average. If you have 3 secrets, it's certainly better than average. But in your average deck, I think we expect you to have, like, a little more than 1 secret. It's a little below average. It's very dependent on deck.
Yep. It's, right. Like, I can definitely see this in certain decks being much higher, than a 91.
And it has that nice little thing where if you pull the secret out of your deck into the battlefield, you've thinned your deck out of a 1 mana thing that you don't want to draw anyway. So,
right.
Has these bonuses.
So I'm kind of surprised at the scores of the next 2, but for different reasons.
Mm-hmm. And what's the score of the next one?
So Rebuke is a 2-mana spell, and enemy spells cost 5 more next turn. I'm surprised this is kind of like as high where it is.
Okay.
But I can kind of see...
It's a 74, so it's right on the line of, this will definitely lose you a couple games if you have it.
And after you say that, I'm like, I think it's fair. And with this, I can also just see, because the Loatheb effect is really powerful, right? And as for Paladin, like, you want that Loatheb effect even more because of, like, AoEs, right? Like, this is where you really want to spread out, or you just want to, like, really push something down and set up your next turn because of that steed or that, like, big buff that you want, right? So I can definitely see it there. So that's where Rebuke is. Do you have any comments about it?
Nope. Yeah, I think you covered it. I am going to say that the echo numbers are in. We have breaking news. Lightforge echo numbers are in. It did not go entirely the way that I was describing it. It was true that, so the way I had described the echo, and this is very timely because we're about to do Sound the Bells, which is an echo card.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wow.
The way it happened is that some cards actually went up, especially the ones that are played earlier potentially, and the ones that are played earlier and the ones that are more 3 mana went up by a lot. So Phantom Militia, if you guys remember, that's the 3 mana 2/4 taunt. Is a 105 right now, and we had said that it was going to go down. This actually went up.
Oh, okay.
To a 128.
What?
Because of the taunting in the late game, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. I would not put it that high.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's the neutral. It's not going to be that high a mage.
Oh, okay.
Like, when in neutral classes, anything with taunt is going to be higher because of Warlock and Rogue.
Right.
Valuing it very highly. But, yeah. So that actually went up by a ton. But other just neutral, like, cards that don't do anything also went up. Like Walnut Sprite, which I'm going to eat my words because I kept saying, like, Walnut Sprites are not good. It's probably going to end up a little above a 90, I think I said. It's going to end up at 110.
That's crazy. What?
Just for that card advantage. Just for that card advantage in the late game. I'm okay with that.
That's what the algorithm said.
That's what the algorithm. Now that we think we fixed it. I haven't dug. Obviously, I've been doing this recording. I haven't dug into it, but yeah. But look, that's where we're at right now. I mean, you guys will see on Thursday when we come to our final conclusions. Right. This is obviously a work in progress. But I want to go over like some of the echo cards we may have seen before, like Hunting Mastiff that we were talking about where it would be. It's obviously not a 181. These are the cards that would go lower, right? Where it's low mana, high repetition, and you play it later on. Yeah. This Hunting Mastiff is a 150.
Okay. Yeah. So that's
kind
of yeah. Also, it's Mastiff.
Mastiff, but, right? Hunting Mastiff. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't think we've done any of the other ones yet. Okay, so
Sound the Bells.
Back to Sound the Bells. Sound the bells, echo, give a minion +1/+2. It is a 70 on here, but what it really should be under our current view of echo, and I still need to review what it's actually doing. But we had identified, because before we started the stream and the YouTube videos, we had already identified the bug, so it was just about like fixing it. So I have pretty high confidence in this, but Sound the Bells is a 78. It is not too much higher, but it did go up into the like draftable territory. And that's because, like, if you look at it, it's not a very good card. It's duplicating a not very good card. It's duplicating Divine Strength, which is not a very good card. And duplicating a not very good card does not make it very good. It does have the benefit of making sure all your minions get good trades, right? That's always good. But how many minions do you have with initiative on the board, right? Especially as a paladin, when all your opponents are trying to do is remove your minions with initiative, and you're lucky if you have one. So it's got some problems structurally with how arena paladins work typically.
Yep.
Were you gonna say it's too low to sound the bells?
I was gonna say it's a little bit low
for 70, and now you're okay with 78.
I'm okay with 78. Yeah, because I mean 78 already makes it jump like a decent amount, and yeah, because it's always a bad buff, right? It's always a bad buff, but it's a flexible bad buff. So it is what it is.
Yeah. The thing with Walnut Sprite that makes it actually go up, or like I think Walnut Sprite is a different category than maybe like Phantom Militia if you're thinking about it, is that it's also a 6-drop.
Yeah.
Anyway, do we have any more cards here? Oh, Hidden Wisdom. It's a secret. Don't draft it. There's nothing going on here. 1 mana. After your opponent plays 3 cards in a turn, draw 2 cards. Your opponent may play 3 cards in a turn at some point, but once they very, very easily figure out what your Paladin secrets are, because Paladin secrets are not that tricky, and you're kind of like forced into triggering all of them just by normal play. They're just never going to play 3 cards in a turn, because they're not going to give you 2 cards.
Yeah, essentially. And then we have a Cathedral Gargoyle, 2 mana, 2/2 Battlecry. If you're holding a dragon, once again, you have to have the dragon in your hand. Gain Taunt and Divine Shield. So super premium if you have a dragon in your hand.
But the dragons are all gone. The good dragons are all gone for the most part.
Yep.
You have like a Primordial Drake left, and then you're waiting on Legendaries.
Yep. So Cathedral Gargoyle, really, really bad. Okay. Those are the common rares and epics. And now we go to the legendaries. So legendary 1, we have the Glass Knight. I think the flavor of this would be great. I can't wait to hear like the voice acting and everything for this. But it's a 4 mana 4/3 Divine Shield, and whenever you restore health, gain Divine Shield. So even if it's just a 4 mana 4/3 Divine Shield, it's already pretty good, right? It's already a pretty good card. And then the option to gain Divine Shield, while it's not easy, you can definitely fulfill it. Yeah, it just makes it into a pretty good card at 135. And then we have Prince Liam. Is this one that we're excluding, or is this the score?
This is one. Hold on, give me a second. I'm gonna refresh this because this is one that I think it works now. Yep. Okay, new scores are up. I wonder if the new scores are up overall on this test server, or if it's just Liam that got the workaround. Rebuke 78. Yeah, no, the Sound the Bells is still in the old score. Okay, so but Prince Liam has been updated. This is the score. It's a 5 mana 5/5, which is a 91, and it has a battle cry that doesn't do all that much, which is transform all 1-cost cards in your deck into legendary minions.
Like at the very, you should not have that many 1-cost cards in your deck. Just period.
I don't know. You're a paladin. 1-cost cards are pretty good for paladin because of hero power on turn 2, and it makes a lot of 1-drops into effective 2-drops.
No, I agree, but like when you're transforming, you're not transforming like 7 things.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, you're transforming like 2-3 things.
You're
maybe
probably like 2. Probably you're transforming 2 things, and then you have to draw them, and then random legendaries are not that good either. Like so, the upgrade, it's not like you're drawing
much better than a 1 mana card.
Yeah, it is. But once again, you know, a lot of times it's if you average all of it out, it's a 5 mana 5/5 with like some benefit, like a slight benefit, right?
Yep.
So that's where it's at,
All
and
right.
that's it for Paladin.
So the Paladin, it doesn't like went over a bunch of stuff. It doesn't seem like they're like too strong, but they have enough tools, right? You have Paragon of Light, which sets up for the 3-drop. You have a Ghostly Charger, which is just a generally useful card. You have a Silver Sword, which is another anchor for a premium card, especially if they misbucket it. I feel like Silver Sword is a good possibility to be misbucketed into a lower bucket, and that would make it incredibly good. And then you have other cards, Bellringer Sentry, which can potentially get you value depending on if you hit a certain deck archetype or not. Like I said, it's nothing terribly special, but the bones on Paladin is so good because they lost nothing, right?
Yeah. So once again, this all depends. You know, like we've been talking up Silver Sword a lot. If it's consistently being like offered alongside Vine Cleaver, then no. Like it, you should pick the Vine Cleaver, and if you pick the Silver Sword, you're giving up something to pick the Silver Sword, right? But I agree. I think that is a good candidate for misbucketing because if it just goes into the non-super premium bucket, you should pick it like quite often. All right. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So that's Paladin. Thank you guys for watching. We are doing Priest next. And shout out to patrons, shout out to the Twitch subs, patreon.com/grinninggoat. If you enjoy the video, also give it a like, give us a follow if you're watching this on YouTube or Twitch. And we are the Grinning Goat, and we do tier lists. We've done tier lists for a long time, and we also stream on Twitch and YouTube. I mean, we stream on Twitch, and then we upload the videos to YouTube when they do well, so people only see us doing well. And they think every run we get 11, 12 wins, which is not true. But one thing that I do want to point, if people aren't watching this, well, the thing we started out doing the most is the Arena Coup, which is one run every week on Sunday. We've been pretty good about keeping up with it, and we don't pick the class. It's all classes evenly based on a formula of when the last time we played a particular class is and what Blizzard happens to offer us. And we have like a 7.4 wins per run average right now, and it's gone through every single meta. And we do it every Sunday, and all of that is uploaded without any editing onto YouTube, with a lot of discussion. It's always co-op, me and Merps, and it's not only a good learning tool, but it's also, I think, a good like way to keep pace with the meta. That's pretty low maintenance. You can put it on and kind of play your own game while that's going on too. So just wanted to give a shout out to our Arena Coup series on YouTube. It's on to like 160 or something. I don't know.
We're on like 170 plus.
Yeah, we're on 170 plus now, which is incredible. It's the first time we streamed was Arena Coup 1.
Yeah. All right. So definitely check that out if you guys want to see some in-depth and cooperative arena play. But next video, we are going to continue on. Priest will be an interesting discussion. Let's go to it.
Before we go on to Priest, the Paladin is going to be one of the best classes, if not the best class. That's my not so bold prediction.
Yeah, I mean, we still aren't like absolutely sure, right? Because of the buck. Like Hunter could be good. You don't know. Like it depends on how often they.
Merps.
It could be. Let's go on to the next video. It could be good. It could be good. Let's go on to the next video.